All right, Rush to Reason, Denver's Afternoon Rush, KLZ 560. Michael Fields joining us now from Colorado Rising. Michael, welcome to Rush to Reason. How are you today, sir?
Hey, everyone. It's good to be on with you. I'm doing well.
Hey, likewise. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Talk to us about a very important item coming up on this November's ballot, something that I am assuming we're going to say vote no on. At least I am for sure. I'm guessing you're going to say the same thing. Talk about Amendment 73.
Yeah, so Amendment 73, it's one of those that has gone under the radar a little bit so far, but it's very important. There's a lot of important stuff on your ballot. But Amendment 73 is a $1.6 billion a year tax hike for education. And, you know, they've tried this a few times in the past, 2011, 2013, billion-dollar tax increases that have gotten shot down by a 2-to-1 margin. The difference this year is they're focusing more of the taxes on families making $150,000 or more. But they're not talking about is, this is a 30% increase to businesses, too, for state taxes. So it's a hidden tax on all consumers. Really, they need to prioritize the budget. The money's there to pay teachers more, to fund education, but they're spending it on other stuff.
Well said.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just reading the...
That's a lot.
By the way, folks, you can go to multiple places you can go, but really quick, it's easy to go to ballotpedia.org. Type in Amendment 73 for Colorado. It'll bring it right up, and everything that Michael just said, it spells it out black and white. A yes vote supports the ballot initiative to establish a tax bracket system rather than a flat rate and raise taxes for individuals earning more than $150,000 per year, raise the corporate income tax rate, and create the Quality Public Education Fund. Is all that correct, Michael?
That's all right. And, when you look at it, we have the number one economy in the nation, according to U.S. News.
Just came out.
What is this going to do to, what is this going to do to people? Even Governor Hickenlooper got asked about it a couple of days ago and said, this could chase people out of the state, wealthy people, businesses. What are we trying to accomplish that can't be accomplished with the current budget? Our budget's $30 billion. If education, if roads are a priority, then why aren't we spending money on that?
To your point, exactly, Michael, and I'll top that off one more and say that even with the amount of money right now that we spend on average in Colorado, I haven't done every single school district, but what I have done the math on so far with the bulk of the school districts up and down the metro area here, doesn't get this, it doesn't, I'll agree, it doesn't cover the entire state. But on average, Michael, in Colorado, we're about $12,000 currently, $12,000 a student. That's a ton of money and should be able to easily educate our children at $12,000 a pupil.
But the problem with it is that only 53% of the money that we spend on education actually goes to instruction. So the thing that you're supposed to be doing in school is instruction, paying teachers, money in the classroom. Only 53% of it goes to that. And we have a pension system that's out of control. So there's a huge cost there. They have buildings, administrative costs that are huge and ballooning. And really, when you look at it, you look at any school district, but Aurora, Denver, these administrative costs are much higher than they need to be. In Colorado, we have higher administrative costs than the average state, and the average state has too much, administrative costs to start with. So I think until people say, you fix para, more money is actually going to teachers that we're spending already. Administrative costs, we're not building these huge new buildings that we don't need. Once those things start happening, then people might look at it. But statewide tax increases like this that will hurt businesses, will hurt, send people out of the state, this isn't the answer. And so I, wanted to make sure that your listeners knew that this is on the ballot, that this is, is going to be a battle. It's going to be closer than the last few. But it's important that people should be tuning into it.
Well, I'm glad you're on with us as well, because I'll be honest, I'll be very frank. I wasn't watching this. This was not on my radar until I knew you were coming on. So you got my awareness up. I didn't know much about it, which frankly, Michael, as much as we do here and talk about the different things, if we didn't know about it and we weren't talking about it much, guaranteed most people aren't.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of the attention is going to some of these other important ballot issues. The oil and gas setback one is going to be a huge one.
Yes.
The transportation, the dueling, transportation ballot issues. One would raise taxes, the other would find it in the existing budget. But this is the one that it already made the ballot, and other stuff starting to make the ballot now. But it was the first one on, Amendment 73. And people need to know this will have a big impact on our state if it's passed. The teachers' unions are behind it. The people who don't want to prioritize the budget. the lobbyists at the Capitol, kind of the same people, but they're trying to, they're going to put it on until something passes, and the only way that we fight against it is to beat it and beat it bad.
So, Michael, how does the measure read on the ballot? What's the wording on the ballot?
So luckily we have something called TABOR in Colorado, and it forces us, legislators or anybody who wants to raise taxes to go to the people and ask, and it starts out, shall taxes be increased by $1.6 billion is how it reads, and then it goes through the different brackets, how much you would pay more if you make $150,000, $300,000, et cetera. And then it talks about how the school funding formula needs to be changed, and it kind of puts it on the legislature to do it, but it has to be equitable. And it doesn't, it really can go to the system in general. It is not specific the way that a lot of ballot issues on the local levels are. We want to buy this school or put it to this specific thing. It's just more money for the entire system.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this too. Have you had a chance to debate any of the proponents of this measure?
I haven't yet. I did a TV interview where they kind of showed what they said and had what I said. But I'd love to debate people on it. I have a history being a school teacher, being somebody who's involved in education policy in this state. I'm on a school board of a charter school, and I do agree that teachers should get paid more, but this isn't the right way to do it.
So
that's our key word here.
That's the key word. How much should teachers make?
Well, I think it depends on the district. I mean, I think, in the area that they live, I think that the problem that we have with it right now is that beginning salaries are pretty low. And, you can find schools where they might make, $35,000, $34,000 to start with. And then as you go along, you make a lot more. And then you have a pension system that, really on the back side of it, you make more than you do on the front side. And I think we're not, having quality teachers enter it because it is a low amount. But I think, starting salaries, depending on where it is in the state, should be higher than that $35,000.
See, that's the whole problem, though, with the argument is that nobody knows.
Right.
I have never had one person ever once tell me how much a teacher should make. And so, quite frankly, this would never, ever end.
And I'm one that says, and again, Michael, we're on your side, so please take this all as just sort of instructional things that we would throw at you even inside of a debate. I, as a business owner and somebody that's looking at this maybe in a little different way than somebody that's looking at it as far as somebody educating my child, first of all, I have this huge, staunch disagreement that we should educate kids in the first place because I don't think my tax dollars, no offense, should go to educate your kid. You should handle your own kid. I'll handle my kid. Off we go. So, frankly, all the money we pour into education, which, frankly, isn't doing much anyways, in my opinion, could go away, lower taxes, let people do what they want with that extra money they've got kicking around and do it however they want to do it. Now, that's neither here nor there. That's not going to happen. So I realize that's a pipe dream on my part. Now, with all that said, I will tell you that as a business owner and just looking at starting salaries and different things in different industries and so on, when you look at a teacher working the average of 10 months out of the year, and you're to take even that starting pay at, say, $40,000 and divide it by those 10 months, that's basically a $50,000 a year salary roughly for somebody that works 12 months out of the year. I don't see that as bad first pay, to be honest with you.
Well, I think you can make that point. I think other people, and if you polled it in the state, would say that they don't think that teachers or people in the military get paid what they should. I think my argument
and real quick, I'll stop you there for a second. I want to separate those two because I would agree with you on the military side, but on the same token, military guys can end up being on the field getting shot at, totally different situation. That's not what our teachers do. So, and again, you and I are on the same side, so I'm just throwing some things out instructionally, on your side. But I think what Dan's getting at and where I'm getting at with this is I think the teachers' unions have done a really good job of ingraining even some folks on the conservative side to say teachers don't make enough money. I'm going to come back at you and say, hogwash. I think they actually do.
Well, and I think you can argue that there should be less money in education. I'm saying before we go and spend more money, which is the ballot issue that we have in front of us right now, before we throw more into it, why don't we use the money that we do have in a more efficient way? Why don't we fix the structural problems with para,
won't argue
with
that
our
one.
compensation system, and say, you know what, if we can move some of that money up into the front and make it more competitive to start out with, that's what I'm saying.
And I won't disagree with you there.
We shouldn't be spending so much, and in front of us is this ballot issue. Do we chase businesses out of the state?
No, we don't. We do not. No, and to your point, there's plenty of money there. In fact, our administrative costs here in Colorado, to your point a moment ago, are extremely high. I did some math not that long ago where we talk about security inside of schools and having police officers there and so on. The reality is every administrator in the state of Colorado could take a 10% pay cut, and we could fund a security officer at every single public school we have in this state easily, which is a 10% cut in pay on the admin side.
Yeah, and I mean, administration, you can see it. Every study, I mean, AEI did a study a few years ago that went nationwide, and as the teacher salaries have remained largely flat, according to looking at inflation, administrative costs have gone up 700% in the last 2 decades.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Which
so
doesn't need to be.
I think we agree on all that and say that this is unnecessary. We have to fix our long-term pension liability if we're going to be a healthy state. And really, you know what? This ballot issue is not going to fix the problem.
No, it is not.
It's not going to help things.
No, it is
it's only
not.
going to make things worse.
You got that right. You got that right. No, we all agree. And again, we agree on everything. I'm just throwing things at you, even just some fodder, if you would. So when you've got some of these things coming up, debates and so on, ask some of those key questions to the liberal and say, so what is enough? Yeah, how much is enough? What should a teacher make? Dan and I, to our point, and Cassie, we've never heard a liberal even come on and say what that number should be.
Nope.
Right.
Have no idea.
I mean, should it be 60 grand a year, 75 grand a year, 80 grand a year, 55 grand a year? What's the magic number that everybody would be happy at where they would say, oh, teachers make plenty of money? My feeling, again, Michael, is the teachers union have done a very good job of infiltrating even the conservative movement by saying teachers don't make enough money, and I'm not one of those that say that.
Yeah, well, I would say teachers don't make enough money given what we're currently spending. We can, basically looking at it, if we broke it down in a better way, teachers could get paid more, and I think more people would be happy with that. We don't have to spend more money on it. We don't have to raise taxes.
Agreed.
And so making that point is I think key in this debate, because people do think that that their teachers should get paid more. Okay. Right. I think there's enough money in the system. If they're spending $10,000, $12,000 on a student, there's enough money in that classroom if there's 25 kids to take care of that teacher and take care of a lot of other stuff that we're not doing.
Agreed. Very well said.
Totally agree.
Michael, appreciate it very much. Always enjoy having you guys. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for joining us. Michael Fields, again, he is from Colorado Rising.
All right.
So thanks a lot.